do I start the intro?
Anytime you want.
When? Tell me when.
Right now.
I'm thinking about it.
I'll wait until I hear from you to tell me to intro.
I had sex once.
I know you have a kid. So
Yeah,
it's that one time.
that's the only time.
I had sex twice.
You wonder why I'm so depressed in life.
So I'm depressed in life by having to have sex. Because now I'm not the age where they're like, hey, let's do something. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Just leave me alone. Can't we just cuddle?
And
That's the worst part. See, young guys like him want to get laid. And then you get old and married and you're like, fuck this. Like,
Cramps.
it's too much work.
Then you want it, but you're like,
I don't want to do the effort.
Need I remind
to
you guys
get
we're
it.
talking about the Wheel of Time here.
This is the wheel of time. When you're young, you want to fuck all the
we're-
time. Then you get older and you're like, ah, fuck it.
But nobody on this show wants to fuck. That's the thing.
At
I was
least
thinking
each
about
other.
that. I was thinking about that. On the show, I'm like, okay, this girl is hot. The weirdest, most off-putting line.
Can we
in
just
the
say
Wheel of Time-
first-
No, this is my breakaway.
Yeah, shut up, Phil.
There's a line in the Wheel of Time. I think it's in the 4th episode, or it might be the 3rd, where they're at the bar tavern.
Yep.
And he sees the barmaiden, and this guy who looks tops like 30, and the one guy says to this guy, who I look up is actually like 24. I don't know who he's talking about. But the guy says, oh, she looks a little young for you. But they look like the same fucking age. And I looked it
And
up.
I believe
and
it's
he's
set up.
20
But
and he's
isn't it
20
set up that they're all supposed to be around the same fucking age?
Like, she's 24, he's 24, and this barmaiden is like, what, 18?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. But I don't know for like rules, and I pay attention a lot to like age differences, because who doesn't these days? But between 20 and 30, who gives a fuck?
So welcome to Watch
Wheel
and
of
Complain.
No.
Starring.
Well,
That's what I said.
What's
The
the
wheel.
hell?
Phil
podcast
and
called?
Rob and Will.
We're Phil and Bill and Will.
Oh, it's called
And
Sour.
we're watching-
like Olivia
No.
Rodrigo's.
no, not called sour.
Watch of the Wheel of
No.
the Wheel of Watches,
It's-
The Wheel of
starring
Fortune.
Oh,
Robert
God.
Rodriguez.
Welcome to the Hour of Sour, episode 2.
That's a terrible.
Episode 3.
Terrible
Two,
title.
3.
The first one is just a pilot.
I put
doesn't
it
count.
on.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I don't like calling it. I don't
Hour
like calling
of
it pilot. I
Sour?
called it
Because
I like
we're
Hour of Sour. I
sour.
think that's good.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't like Hour Sour
just like
pilot.
Watch and
then the one
Complain.
after the
Why
pilot
can't
is
we call
one.
it the Watch and Complain podcast?
It's already been named. We don't change titles around here.
We
Phil's
oh
the
yeah,
boss.
we've only done it twice.
No, we
God
don't wa-
forbid.
Netflix Weekly and
We
Because
don't-
Movies.
We don't call it. Whoa! Thank you for pointing it out.
We were calling something before Netflix Weekly too, weren't we?
No. Oh,
thought we were.
No, you originally had the idea of what we ended up doing. So
What was it? What?
I can't remember.
What was it
he
called?
I thought
wanted
it was
to do a
called-
general podcast about movies, which now we're at that.
And then
pretty much.
you were like, "Yeah, let's not do that.
I
Let's just
wanted
do
to try to
Netflix."
do something specific and have like a a theme,
a niche.
Yeah, a niche. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
I could have sworn
Or
we
what,
had a
what
different.
was I saying?
Could have sworn we had a different name.
Phil,
before.
what'd you think of the show? Phil, what'd you think of the Wheel of Time?
The
Wheel of Time.
Weekly Wheel of Fortune.
I think it was trash. I watched 2 episodes and I
no.
couldn't watch anymore.
Are
I
you
wouldn't
fucking
call
kidding
it-
me? You
I
made me
wouldn't
watch
call it
4.
trash.
You made me watch 4, and
That was my intention, and
Oh,
then I got to 2, and
did you-
how many times have I watched the whole thing and you guys stopped
okay,
or didn't watch it all?
Phil,
Okay,
okay, once that happened once because of Arcane.
okay, but how many
I'm
times?
Let's talk about the Wheel of Time.
Okay. This is an important point.
And Arcane's
because
actually good.
I'm new to these guys' lineup, and I have never in my life, I've run my website independently. I've never before felt like I've had to watch a show before the long grind of Wheel of Time came to me.
Phil, you tell us what you thought of Wheel of Time.
It was garbage.
We won't talk about
Yeah,
It was
we want
what
you-
I watched
Straight
of
up
it.
Lord of the Rings copy bullshit that had horrible writing, horrible acting. I didn't like any of it. Any of it. Trollocs? What the fuck is a
I did
It's a
like.
troll.
I know.
I did like that. Men are like dumb. Like what? How do they start?
Only
like men
women
are,
can have magic and only
Yeah.
in certain circumstances.
but also like
okay.
men are kind of idiots. Like they're chasing 2 guys who are like cavemen.
To me, this reminded me of like Hercules and Xena, like that kind of show, but less cornball. Like
But I thought it was going to go that like maybe the women go out and want to find men for like men are concubines instead of women are concubines.
you're just hoping for that.
But that's what I thought it was doing. And then there's the one dude that goes around with the queen. He's like her little.
Oh yeah, that dude.
I thought that's where the show was going, or maybe that's where it's going. But kind of similar to Phil, where I couldn't figure out the Lord of the Rings similarities are over the top.
Abundant.
But I think they're just because Amazon is making that Lord of the Rings show and they
Yeah.
want to get people on board.
I thought
for
it
Lord
was
of
a
the
dry
Rings.
run for it, man.
Yeah, right. That's what it feels like. But it feels like I think it is becoming something else, and it's almost like it doesn't know. I feel how you felt. Midnight Mass was a bit directionless in the middle of it. That's where I felt this was
This
like
feels totally
directionless.
direct. How about you, Phil?
I just find it really boring. Like I thought it was beautiful. Like it's
I don't
shot
think so.
really well in my opinion.
Is it? What's the one? I
Like the locales that you see.
yeah,
that-
the scenery
I
is
think
good,
that's beautiful.
but there's no like to me. Like a shot that somebody's like, okay, we're making a TV show here. Like it doesn't feel like conceived as a TV show to me at all. It's like they're following the books to the letter, and they're just putting the camera up there. Did you feel that? Or?
I don't think it has to be in a spot. Like it doesn't have to be. It feels like TV. It feels like movies. It can just be whatever it ends up being.
Do you-
but it
do you
ended
think
up
it's-
being boring?
Do you think it's being followed to the letter, or is it being followed as much as they can and throwing a little bit of Lord of the Rings, throwing a little bit of Lord of the Rings? We gotta.
Exactly.
That's how this feels. Like you hit the nail on the head, but it's like a dry run for Lord of the Rings. It feels like they're trying to get people interested in this. This won't get renewed for a second season, but Lord of the
No, hopefully
Rings
not.
is coming.
Amazon could do it because they have the money
That's
and
a
they're
good point.
hoping.
Yeah,
Good
but this is a medieval fantasy show that takes place in the Middle Ages, yet everyone has like a magnificent skincare routine.
And I love that they have like the
clean
5 o'clock
shaven?
shadow. But the guys who have 5 o'clock shadow, it's that perfect 5 o'clock shadow that's the same for like fucking weeks on end. Love that.
And then like these young, attractive people brood as if they weren't attractive enough to be on TV. And I don't blame them because they're not given much to do otherwise.
The main character is like Ryan Phillippe the second.
Yeah, he looks. I was gonna say that he looks exactly like Ryan Phillippe. Exactly. I said this out loud to my dad. He looks like Ryan Phillippe, except he probably doesn't have as many serious abusive claims
you
or
don't
marital
know.
problems, and he doesn't have a bump on his head.
I am your father.
But the fact that he's like not Ryan Phillippe, but looks like Ryan Phillippe is like, oh great, we can market correct Ryan Phillippe now. Because I don't mind Ryan Phillippe, but he, problems.
Still
you know,
boring.
yeah.
His best movie's Wish List.
I think Crash actually.
Wait, that was a joke. Wish List is terrible.
Okay, I've never heard
no,
of it.
no,
Crash
That's
is-
why.
no, just
Crash is
Ryan.
also
Okay.
Ryan
terrible.
Phillippe
So
is
the
terrible.
pilot of this, I wrote out notes. The pilot of this show is filled with lots of talking, which I don't really remember. Like you mentioning about the difference between males and females in this world. That's something that they mention like once and then don't really follow up on.
No, I only heard that in passing, like when people
No,
were
they do in the
describing the
opening.
show before
Yeah.
it started.
No, they do it in the opening.
Do
yeah.
they? Okay.
Nothing any character says on this show seems important except for a wizard played by Rosamund Pike in a bad black wig. There was a character who's played by Game of Thrones Roose Bolton. I have
Yep.
his name, Michael McHatton, who can hold his own in a fight and swing a sword. But I guess the producers thought he has too much presence for a show that's so focused on its vague plotting that goes nowhere that he can't accompany, for some reason, the heroes on their perilous journey. It's just at the end of the first episode, she's like, you four are coming with me because of reasons. And then they're just like...
Because reasons,
All right.
exactly.
That's literally
Yeah.
it,
And
right?
even though they're all at every angle a super skeptical bunch, they're just kind of like, okay, and nobody says anything about it. The most interesting thing to happen on the show in the first episode is naturally where the character in the heat of battle, the black guy, he accidentally friendly fires like one of his
Yep.
companions and kills him. I'm like, oh my god!
I thought that was going somewhere.
Yeah, that
Yep.
stopped in its tracks. They actually address it like. But he has a bad dream in episode 4.
That's his like girlfriend, isn't it?
Yeah, or
wife?
I don't even know. You don't know
Yeah.
any of the characters'
Yeah.
relationships to each other or what they even mean to each other.
It feels
and
like
it's a
they're-
unique aspect that the show chooses not to explore.
I think it's because there will be a lot of retconning. There will be a lot of, this it, and then second
They'll
season.
come back,
Remember
yeah.
this scene? Oh, that's
It'll be
blah, blah, blah.
lost.
Yeah.
Not to
When they went
mention,
to the whole season of flashbacks, and I'm just like boring.
not to mention, we've got all this fucking fighting, and the Trollocs show up and fighting, and then she starts going Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh,
woo.
yeah,
I was like,
in-
fuck you! This is stupid. That's where I was.
Wind bending. Or
That's
whatever
where
it
I
is. don't
was
know.
like, hey, I said to Karen, I'm not interested in this anymore because she's like, wow, woo. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
The lighting is bad. The CGI is bad.
Yeah, the CG is
wigs are
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
The accents are bad, especially where the show decides to weirdly lampshade people's accents. Lampshading is when you draw attention to something without ever pointing it out as a way of addressing it. They all sound kind of the same Isle of British, which is actually really distracting because on Game of Thrones, like Peter Dinklage was American, but he sounds like he fits
That's
in.
one thing I said
But
to my
they're
wife that they
all-
talked like, like
But they
it's all-
they don't set. Nobody looks or sounds like they
we
belong.
need to go to
Yeah.
the forest.
This
and
sh-
like, everyone talks the same. He's right.
Yeah.
It was just comical the whole time.
This is a show where I have it right
Christ,
here.
everyone
That's
was
an essay.
overacting.
In your notes. You write
Yeah.
essays.
That's what he does.
yeah.
It's on filmgamer.com.
No, I haven't published this on Film
Hasn't
Gamer.
published it.
I
Not
just
yet.
wrote this
Don't
right now.
fucking say it's on film.
I just
because
wrote
he hasn't
this
published
today.
it yet.
Yeah. This is what I was thinking of publishing on the website Watching Complaint actually for you guys.
It's a manifesto race. Is fucking at the end of it.
Yeah.
Phil watched 2, and I watched fucking 4.
Yeah. So yeah,
yourself.
that this show that now you guys made me lose myself. God damn it.
Guys,
That's
Yeah,
the podcast.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is a show. We talked about the friendly fire earlier. This is a show where the character comes from the significant Hollywood plots of yore, where every event must go unacknowledged until it's dramatically convenient. He scrapes his leg at a time and place that would infect him pretty badly. If only he were traveling alongside a magical healing wizard who could clear things up for him. Like, what the fuck? Why isn't he talking to anybody? Being like, yeah, my legs hurt pretty bad. You know how serious that is that I would be? I would be, hey, wizard lady, can you help me? Like, and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything.
I didn't get to that part. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
my favorite is when they're in the bathtub together, and for not
Who is?
because
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
I don't remember
the
that
queen,
scene.
The queen and
Oh,
and
her
little
assistant.
concubine guy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Because he's like, this water could be
Just
a bit
didn't care,
warmer.
just came right
and I'm
in.
like, oh, they're
Came
gonna fuck.
right
And
in.
this is what I stopped thinking. Oh, the guy's a concubine. He's there to fuck her.
Yeah.
So she goes
That's
to
another
the water,
thing.
and then it's warm.
Like the
I'm
scene.
like,
That's all that was.
So did you guys see at the end of the third episode where it's like with the barmaiden?
Third episode.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Where it looks like they're gonna
Error
it
is her
looks like
name.
they're gonna have sex and then they don't.
Yep.
And it's like how do you think Game of Thrones was successful?
It's the-
Sex position.
The
Right.
theme of the show is almost.
I have this as a note of grace in here because I say, guys, I can never thank you enough for having me on this show to record. It's given me an excuse
Cut. All right, stop now. That's what he
that's
said.
it.
Stop.
We're done.
It's given me excuse to watch and
He
complain.
wasn't here the next week.
But and here's the heart of it. What are the real reasons we are watching this show? It's popular. Well,
That's a
not,
good point.
But
It
it's
was
not
the-
really.
It's the next big thing, supposedly.
It's not really popular unless Amazon says it's popular, even though they won't give us any metrics to prove
Jack
it. It's
Ryan.
popular because it's based on a series of books. I like Jack Ryan season 1. By the way.
Oh, okay.
Season 2 is bad.
It did
but-
really well.
Yeah, yeah.
Did it?
And it's taking forever to get to the third season. By which point
But The
everybody.
Boys is good.
It's popular because it's based on a series of books, which are the best-selling fantasy novels since Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. The series started in the 80s, finished 7 years
Invincible.
ago. It is popular because it is expensive. The series costs as much as HBO Game of Thrones in its first season, not including marketing. And if only the show could afford decent special effects or acting that series had.
Which is
they spend a lot of money
surprising.
on C-list actors.
That's the thing is, it's almost like they're spending so much money on. Hey, you know what we
On
need?
what?
We need 1,000 extras. Well, we only need 10 in the scene. Doesn't matter. Have those other 990 just sitting there, ready to come on screen. Or well, now we need to make a Trolloc look. Well, just throw a wig on that guy and give him some fucking give him a
the
Wolfman
Trolloc,
mask
yeah.
and that's it.
For
Like when she's fighting with her airbender powers, that looks so poor.
It does. It's like something off MTV, like the Shannara Chronicles, and even that
It's
had.
like they found a CG place to do it, but they're
There's a
charging
plugin.
way more than
It's
they
an Adobe
should.
plugin.
I mean, I know it's the pandemic, but come on. I mean, like I write in my closing remark before I get to the nitpicks are that like for the richest company in the world, nothing seems to be worth anything these days. Yeah.
Except not giving people piss
No,
breaks.
it's a quick throw in. They're hoping that it goes
Yeah.
well, and it didn't. It's like their MMORPG that they
It's
just released.
A show.
Amazon released one?
Yeah.
Really? Eh? Wow.
So, oh yeah, and it's supposed to be good though.
Is it
But
Warcraft
they-
3 Reforged? Because I just bought that.
So I get confused between theirs and Google's because every major company wants
I'm
it.
pretty sure it's Emma.
Yeah, Google had
Amazon.
a bunch of resources that they poured into one that they just never finished, and I
Is it
believe
like
that they
New
stopped.
World or something? What is it called?
I
fucking
can't remember, but
Doesn't
I
matter,
remember
but
it
it's
being
not
like a
doing well
hit
now.
on
It's
the first day.
forgettable.
Did you play it?
On the first day, a lot of people were into it. They wanted to see what it was, but now no one's talking.
Are you talking
it.
about Stadia?
No.
No, it's something different. I know you have Stadia though. Stadia plug.
What? No, I don't have Stadia. I
I
just
thought you
bought.
did.
I
Oh,
just
my-
bought
my cousin who I
Warcraft 3 Reforged. There's a game from
Okay.
25 years ago
Totally
that they
forgot.
remade last
I
year.
confused you with my cousin. That's
And
why I play Xbox
for the
with.
Switch,
Shout out
I
to
was
you,
going to
Anthony.
buy Knights of the Old Republic, which is a game from like 15 fucking years ago.
It's supposed to be really good.
I
That's
have.
I've heard.
I have just.
I
four-
love the old school.
I have 4.
Shut up, Phil. He's got 4 more points.
Yeah,
Okay,
4 more
go for
nitpicks. A show where everybody faces constant mortal danger, yet no significant character dies.
Yep.
Were did you guys watch as far where they go to that city, they're being traced by Trollocs? Or
Yep.
what the
Tro-
fuck?
the Trollocs.
Trollocs.
I think.
And they stop 100 meters from where they could stop.
Yep.
And then they just decide to walk in, spend a night at this place, which is clearly cursed, and then this black goo
Isn't
comes
that
around.
like another Lord of the Rings thing where they're in
Europe.
The Mines of Moria,
Yeah.
basically.
But also, it's basically the Urukai
Yeah.
following them. Like it doesn't even. It's so blatant with
Yeah.
how obvious a ripoff it is.
Yeah, and it's
well, even the guy on the horse, that's the weird face thing.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
about the
it's-
sword.
It's like just another the
Yep.
black mask thing that was yeah.
a show where the bad guys chase heroes until they are 100 meters away from a cursed city instead of chasing them up to the city lines. They back off. The main characters slow down and trot into this place without harm for several hours. They even decide to sleep there. Then a corrosive black shadow that devours anything it touches chases our heroes and only manages to kill one horse despite the other if you look moving at a light trot. Like you see it in the background. Did
you love
see
the
that?
horse.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
No, I love to do stuff to
Yeah.
horses.
If this
Oh, yeah.
place is so
Horses are fun.
dangerous, how can our heroes so
Trollocs.
how can our heroes so
Trotcock.
easily outrun it without hurting themselves? Another character basically taps his foot on it and nothing happens.
But his
when
foot
he
is
ta-
cut or his leg is cut.
Which
oh, is
means
that
he
where he
can-
cuts his leg? I thought he cut his leg in the first
No,
battle
his
from
leg.
the first episode.
He's not running because his leg is cut.
I don't
thought.
think it's him that does that.
Oh, I thought that. I don't know. It's so dark, this fucking show, that you have no idea what's going on.
That's because
Yeah.
they don't want you to see how bad it is.
Yeah. The fighting is terrible, and then I just have a mysterious wizard. I
Then
said this earlier.
it lights up for the big panorama scenes and stuff.
Do you guys? What's the plot of this show? I have vague.
I don't
the
have
world
a
is in
clue.
danger. They want to go somewhere to do something because they're chosen.
What
ones.
I got as the plot is there was the Tiger Reborn. There was supposed to be a guy reborn called the Tiger.
Is he a dragon?
Oh, is it the dragon or the tiger?
I thought it was a dragon.
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
the
dragon.
Dragon
I'm sorry,
Reborn.
I'm saying
Yeah,
tiger.
yeah.
Because
I watched
it's a
that.
fantasy.
I love
they
how
thought-
I'm the one who watched the most episodes. I
But
wanted to
then
watch
It's
it.
Skyrim.
They were like, hey, okay, but it might be these 4 kids or one of these 4.
Oh, did you guys see the 4th episode?
No.
There was like a 5th person.
A new fucking person.
No,
comes
there's
on.
like
Oh my
it's
God.
okay. This
I'm
is.
not
I have
watching
to say
anymore.
something.
Yeah,
Okay.
So-
I'm not
Say
going
what
to
you
follow
want.
anymore of this
I
show.
have to say something like, and this is like mildly controversial, but it goes.
Holy
into,
fuck.
Oh no!
It go-
not
you
this
saw it
show.
here.
It gets into colorism because we tapped on this a bit with
lot.
Halloween Kills about casting like people of color, and we talk about earlier like when you were talking about with Hawkeye of
Every
like whether
episode,
she's a
yeah.
lesbian or not. It's always on people's minds. But like with this show and diversity. Why is it always on these shows? They always get like a light-skinned black
Right,
person,
yeah.
and it's never like a
point.
fully black person.
That's a good
That
point.
bothers me. And then there's the one Asian guy, and it gets into like the mystic thing.
And even
like
and
that
even
seems
he's
racist.
even that Chinese guy is. It seems mean to say, but like a homogenized Chinese guy, like he's a little whitewashed.
like
he feels a
could
little
be
whitewashed.
he could fit into any category.
Yeah.
And
Like
it-
he seems
Well,
like
that
a.
happened with
Which
podcast too. So
I mean that's what it bothers me because it's like.
But hold on, with that Chinese
yeah.
guy, so
is he
could-
Chinese though?
He's
Oh,
Asian. Yeah,
yeah,
he's some
In
some
Hollywood,
type
yeah.
of Asian. But
so racist.
he could be a sorcerer, or he could be a magician,
Or a
he
kung
could
fu
be.
fighter.
But yeah, let's make him swords and kung fu. You're like, Jesus Christ! Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can even track down his.
He looks familiar. He looks like he's
Yeah, he
from
does.
something.
That's
right?
why That's why
They
I'm
could've
trying to
made
find
him
him.
Bill
Can you look him up
Gates.
or something?
Yeah, look him up, Phil.
I don't care.
Look up Chinese guy.
Wind of time. Who cares?
Chinese guy from Winds of Wheel of Fortune.
Winds of Wheel.
The wheels
now
of
I gotta
fortune
get on my app.
on the days of our lives.
So
I just love that he's got two
I thought
devices
you wanted to
in
keep
front
us under 20 fucking minutes.
It's not me.
We're getting-
No, this is the podcast. It
Oh.
goes an hour.
Yeah.
Hour of sour.
Oh,
Okay, so I'll just finish off because I have the second thing here of like I already mentioned like the biggest mistake that all these shows make is focusing on plot over character. They have an hour where people talk about something, but it doesn't add to their character. Useless dialogue.
my mouth.
Oh yeah, that part. Did you guys watch this together?
No.
And now they're circling
I
our
remember-
sleeping
I
area.
remember that scene. There was so much of this show where I turned to Karen and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Saw a guy
Also-
talking about a bat.
And they're all too good looking. Like, I thought fantasy was supposed to contain ugly people. It's very distracting that they're also good looking.
Why can't bats come out of your mouth and you think nothing of it?
Yeah, like everything, anything that's interesting happens, the show runs away from. You know what
That's a
this show
good
is
point,
missing?
though, that everybody's gorgeous. Like,
Yeah.
dude, no, that's not how it is.
You know what this show
Hercules.
is missing? John Rhys Davies.
Hercules
That's what
and
I said.
Xena.
Sliders.
Yeah.
You know, no, I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
who
They
am I
weren't
thinking
all
of?
attractive.
Yeah, John Rhys Davies
That's
is
right.
on
Who's
Sliders.
who's the other one? Oh, fuck. Like, Jonathan Rhys?
Jerry O'Connell?
No, he's a different kid.
The other
But it could have been
O'Connell?
Sliders. No, I'm thinking of, fuck it.
Don't you
I
think
remember.
her as a wizard that it would have been better if she had like white or short blonde hair rather than long black hair that looks obviously
she had
fake?
like super silver hair.
They could have lesbianed her up. Or,
Yeah, if they made her
Lesbianed her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
what
was
they
thinking,
do
I,
in
I was
these
Of
things.
all the sexist shit I've said on this
Lesbian
podcast,
nerd.
I was
that's
thinking
the
like
fucking
the
worst one I've
Tinkerbell
ever
look.
heard.
I was thinking
I'm
like
just
the
saying,
Tinkerbell
like,
look.
We got the Sprite, or what do they call
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Pixie.
Lesbian
Pixie.
Yeah,
her
pixie
up.
cut.
Yeah.
Holy Christ.
And then like
but
so
I
the
should be canceled.
final the
You should be.
inherent Britishness of these shows doesn't like work anymore.
Where are these shows filmed?
This has got to be filmed in like Australia
Looks
or
like Greenland or
Is it? I
Iceland
feel it was like
or whatever
Scotland
it
or
was.
something.
yeah, but like somewhere in England, somewhere in Europe. But like
That would make sense.
yeah, but it's. I said if you want to like. I haven't seen this show, so I'm a hypocrite here, but I imagine Bridgerton does diversity well, like where it's like
Haven't seen it
we're not adhering to accuracy, but it's like a big party. Let's do this well. A show that post Game of Thrones that I actually think pulls off all of this stuff that this show is trying to do is His Dark Materials. Did you guys?
I watched the first season of it. I couldn't get into it, but I was more interested in His Dark Materials than I was in
Did
this.
you see Did you finish the first season?
First season, yeah.
Yeah. The second season is solid. It's good.
Is it? Eh?
Yeah. I'm excited for the third one, but they, for whatever reason, haven't finished
So,
it.
I'm sorry, but what would you rate it?
Bad camera work, bad choreography, bad
Yeah.
Just
Beast
bad all
costumes are
around.
cheap. The last, I
You
mean,
know what? It's not so much for me. Not so much bad, but lazy. It was very lazy. Felt like it wasn't trying at all. You know, so that's where for me, like 4 out of 10.
I'd give it a 3.
Three's a good.
It's annoying because there are bits of elements I like. Like I want another fantasy show. I don't mind the Ryan Phillippe look-alike. I don't like how he's completely clean shaven.
They could take the tools of this show and make it good.
but there's no way they're making
They're
it through
going
all
to.
four-
It's called fucking Lord of the Rings.
They're not going to make it through all 14 books, and
Nope.
I'm less confident in them even doing Lord of the Rings.
Is this
If it-
actually a Lord of the Rings thing?
no?
Okay.
No, this
The
is
way you're
Because-
talking
based on
about it,
some-
I'm just like, oh, is it something I don't know?
Because it's an Amazon TV show, and Amazon has the television rights to Lord of the Rings, which comes out Labor Day next year. It's going to be a prequel series, which means it's going to be boring
Yep.
because
Interesting.
reasons. But
Well, we'll see. Maybe this is just them getting their feet wet and
That's
going.
that's
Hey,
exactly
we
what I feel
suck
like
at
this
this.
is.
We gotta hire some actual people.
You don't have it,
But
they'll,
the
have,
people-
they'll have the Lord of the Rings fucking
So the guy
prequel, and then Gandalf will just show up. Even in this fucking show, Gandalf will show up being like,
I mean,
"Oh,
the
shall I
guy-
pass?"
The guy Rafe Judkins who did that, and he's also writing Uncharted. He didn't Reddit Ask Me Anything, and basically a lot of the stuff that I got was like, they said, "Hey, I'll go the pacing of the pilot sucks. Everybody's complaining." And then he says, well, Amazon wanted an hour-long pilot because they thought that would help with the bingeability of the show. And they found that enough people got through the first episode to the second. He doesn't, like, seem like somebody who's equipped to do, like, a big fantasy show. Like, you need, like, teams of this stuff, and it feels like not really fleshed out.
You need teams or you need Uber fans.
But
And the problem with Uber fans is they'll try to get too fucking
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, they'll get too far into it. So then you need those Uber fans to be controlled by sort of fans, and that's where you get the perfect fucking mix.
Okay, so I wanna switch into something. What is a popular TV show that you cannot get into? Like something that's very popular. You want to get into it. You've tried. I want something you've tried, not that you've heard about and you're like, nah. That you
There was
actually tried and you want
One
like,
show that was
just can't do
recommended
it.
by a couple of people. They're like, Rob, you're a nerd. You're into Star Wars and Doctor Who and Star Trek, and you're a computer science guy. I'm like, yes, I am. You'll love this show called Big Bang Theory. People that legit thought that I would love it. And so I'm like, really, eh? Everybody's mentioning this. I'll try it. So Karen and I...
Was this near the...
This
in
was
the
right
first
when it
season?
started.
Okay.
Yeah, right when it started. So Karen and I got hold of the first season. First season was over. And they had said, dude, you're going to love this. And we're watching. I remember the entire first episode, might have been the first couple of episodes, is them just kind of moving in to the building that they're in. And none of the jokes were funny. And when I say they're not funny, I know it sounds fucking cliche to bash on Big Bang Theory. But the problem is saying this is where we're going to put up our Star Wars posters. Oh, you guys like the, Star Wars? Ugh, I don't just like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. And that's the joke, that he's a big Star Wars fan. And I was like...
It's a very casual joke, but still in.
But I don't get where the joke is. And that was constantly
There
where
isn't
the
one.
problem lies for me in that. Is if you, like, and there's a scene that I saw on YouTube that they said was the best example. They're like, all right, now we're going to have the Gallifrey Tournament of Champions, and who will beat Gryffindor against the Bridge of Khazad-dûm tournament.
You know what it reminded me of? The Saved by the Bell geeks.
Never watched Saved
Dust
by the
and
Bell.
Diamond Screech.
No, like the actual geeks that were like...
Oh,
hey,
big fans of the show type of thing.
No.
Or geeks on the show.
In Saved by the Bell, when the geeks showed up, they were like pocket protectors and the glasses and...
See, that's what I was told the show wasn't. Big Bang Theory is about guys
Man,
like
who
me.
told you that? Because they lied.
Right?
No,
But then I'm watching it and I'm like, I can't get into this. Well, also, I don't find that Kelly Kuko,
Kelly
she's
Cuoco.
attractive, Cuoco, but she's not for me. She's I'm not a blonde fan of
well,
blondes.
that's a
She's not for
shame.
me. She's an attractive girl. Totally agree with it, but no, not for me.
What do you mean not for you then?
I don't like. I'm not a big
He
fan of
likes
blondes.
brunettes.
Yeah, I like brunettes.
Oh, really?
Brunettes
You
and,
married
and
one.
girls with humongous boobs.
Yeah.
But no, that was a
Root
show
beer
that
jugs.
I tried it and I gave it a legitimate try. I gave that whole first season and I'm like, this isn't funny and I don't like this guy Sheldon. I think he's a horrible asshole.
And it gets worse. I liked it. I liked it
just
for a
couldn't get
certain
into
amount of time, and then it just got like really lazy and boring.
I find it gets like any show gets lazy towards the end. I actually like the show. I haven't seen some of its best episodes, but I watched it casually like anyone. I think
It's
it
a
has
good casual show.
like it or not. I think it had a meaningful cultural impact on
Yeah.
how people view nerds, for better and many ways worse.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like I find it edge on the side of it being in some ways inoffensive. I get how some way, like the remarkable thing about this show, which I think gave it like an extra life, is that it understood the criticisms like levied at it, ignored the things that it knew was making it successful anyways, and then even people are like, oh, the show is too male focused, and they actually like worked to bring in a female counterpart that gave the show like longer legs.
Yeah, I
it's
enjoyed
made
that.
me laugh like dozens of times, but not because it's like nerdy. Like I kind of like the nerd stuff is just in geek stuff is like always, it's never less than eye rolling. But like the performative aspect of it, like as a television show, like a standard 3-camera
As a
sitcom,
sitcom, yeah.
some of it is like really funny. I think Jim Parsons is like a good performer, and everybody else is fine. Funny enough, the guy who plays Howard Wolowitz, the character is like so despicable. As a character, he's the guy with the bowl cut.
He's
basically.
the George from Seinfeld.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
In a different way.
and
Was he in the first season?
Yeah.
He's in the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll
don't
show you.
remember.
But like his character is like believably sleazy in the way that like everybody is.
Jewish. He's Wolowitz.
Well, they're all
Okay.
Jewish.
You can
is
keep
the-
on saying his name. It's not going to make me know the guy any better.
Wolowitz.
Oh, yeah,
I'll show-
Wolowitz. Sorry, I remember.
This
you
guy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But
A sleazeball, yeah.
yeah. But anyways.
So that was my show that I couldn't get into. What about you, Phil?
I will give you a big one. Breaking Bad.
God.
Could not get into it.
You know what? Breaking Bad, and when I got into it, I'm like, this is work. Now, since then, I actually rewatched it this year. It's
Wow.
the only show that I've like rewatched all of twice.
Wow.
But like it, when I was watching it, it might as well have been me and you. It was in university, and I watched it with my roommate Arne, and there were about 4 seasons at the time on Netflix, and we go about 4 seasons into it. But it's like, it's the kind of show, it's not like Sticky. Like you can go 3 seasons and be like, don't get it. Like you can buy out.
But it was a
and
grind.
No, I was.
because it's a
From
slow paced
show
show.
one, I
It
was
is the
right into
show
it.
where it's such a slow build to the top. But I find it
disagree.
cascades fantastically. But I understand anybody who's like, I couldn't get into.
Breaking
Wasn't my
Bad,
type
Better
of
Call
show as
Saul,
well, so.
When you say your
Sopranos.
type of show, what do you mean?
I don't. I'm like big into sci-fi. Like, although you hate it, Picard and Star Trek, like those things. I like the lore and
Every show
where
that
they
I
go
like,
with
and
it.
like I was just saying, Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, another great example, Sopranos. They begin knowing where they're going to end up, and that's what I like. I like shows because I feel like that's an intelligent writer that knows. Like I love Vince Gilligan said, I want to go from Mr. Magoo to Scarface. He knew where he wanted to end up with Walt Whitman, right? So
Mr.
Walter
Chips
White. So he
to
goes
Scarface.
there. No, he said Mr. Magoo. in
unlike the
interview I saw
perfect
him in.
example of Lost.
Yeah, Lost is a perfect example.
Lost
Of
was
we
gonna
had
be an
no
answer of
idea,
mine.
no idea where we were going to go. But that's why those shows like Picard and Discovery don't work for me because they're not beginning with the end in mind.
What's your show?
Well, it's interesting because I have a lot. Lost was actually going to be mine because I watched it when it was on the air. I just only happened to catch the end of the second season finale, and I remember how obsessed my brother was with the show. I remember my parents
lot of people
initially
were.
Yeah,
being
I loved
obsessed
it.
with the show, and like I only saw like clips of it, and I'm like, oh, is this like a documentary, like some Survivor spinoff or something like that? It's interesting to me because like I haven't seen the pilot episode, which I still want to see. It's actually kind of hard to see. I wonder if it's on Disney Plus. Does anybody know if it's on?
Don't know.
But because it's J.J. Abrams directing it, and they had a lot of like good people working on that show. The guy that you like, Dan Trachtenberg, I believe, was
Love him.
probably a writer.
My
on it.
favorite guy, Damon Lindelof.
Yeah. But like, yeah, my pick was actually Grey's Anatomy.
Great pick.
And I watched because with any show that you get into late, I kind of like the X-Files is one where it's like, I'm too late. I don't want to sort through this whole thing. What's the one episode that I can watch? So I started hunting for those episodes, and I enjoyed my time with X-Files doing that. With Grey's Anatomy, it was
Disney.
there was an episode, of the bomb plot
Yep,
of
that's
Grey's
second
Anatomy.
season.
Yeah, and you watched it?
My wife watched it,
Yeah.
and I watched it for a little bit with her. Then I just lost interest, and
Yeah.
it's funny. My wife watched it nearly to the end because it's still on, and it fell apart for her. She goes, when everybody starts fucking each other, that's when she gets disinterested.
But isn't
in the
that
show.
like from the beginning?
Yes and no. I guess for her point was like people who even would never have fucked each other from the start fucking each other. It makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But Grey's Anatomy, that's a good one.
So yeah. So I mean, maybe I'll watch the pilot because I like reading about screenwriting and I have a script that I'm writing. But
Stars two annoying guys named Rob and Phil.
But a lot of them, I wonder if
You're the
is it
Rob.
because of serialized TV or something
Rob
that I'm
is
not like.
someone.
Because I mean, I'm trying to. Oh, you know what I should have said? Mad Men. Mad Men is a
I
show.
really enjoyed
I
Mad
watched
Men.
the first. Okay, Mad Men is my official answer for this.
All right.
I watched the first episode. We got it on DVD. Watched the second episode. Watched the third episode. Watched the fourth episode. And I'm like, you know what? I get it. It's like really well done. The performances are good. The period setting is stunning. The dialogue is good. It's just boring. I just found it boring. And then I even went back years later and talked about all the writing essays and stuff. My mom actually watched it beginning to end, loved it. My brother watched it beginning to end, loved it. And I'm like, okay, what's their one episode? What's like the bottle episode that's like the best of Mad Men? And it's an episode called The Suitcase where, And I watched it beginning to end. I'm like, that was okay. No desire to watch it.
Yeah.
No desire to watch the show.
I found that was like with Sopranos. A lot of people were like,
Yes,
"Hey,
those
I
are
can."
on my list.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "I see where people like it, but I don't like it."
Same with...
And
yeah.
with me, I was Mad Men and Sopranos. I like this, but I can understand why people might see this is way too wordy. Nothing happens. Everyone is talking. That's what I
That
liked
was the
about those
first
shows.
show for me, like growing up. That somebody I remember, a friend of the family's. It's like I'm recording, setting my VCR so I can watch the first season of the second season premiere of The Sopranos.
Yep.
And it's funny because the follow up to that show from that. Well, it's not from David Chase, but that sort of tries to be The Sopranos, except in those times is Boardwalk Empire. Got about 8 episodes into that.
I really enjoyed Boardwalk Empire.
And I had to give it back. And it was just kind of like, it was good, but it's one of those shows that it's like you're the co-parent in watching this show, and the other person is like driving it. Of like, you'll watch it if somebody else is, but
Yeah.
I'm not. Sopranos, I watched the Pine Barrens episode, which everybody went nuts about, where the two guys are trapped in the woods, and it did not match. Like, I had seen Fargo, which was a show that I thought would be on this list of, like, I thought that I would watch that show and I wouldn't get into it, but I actually, like, invested the time and got into it. There's an episode that Fargo does in its third season where Mary Elizabeth Winstead and this other guy, they get chained together and they go through the woods. The first half of it, there's no talking, but you don't, like, realize it until halfway through the episode. And, like, the first part of that, like, the first season is good, the second season is good.
Oh,
The
second
third-
season of Fargo stumbled bad.
A lot of people would say the second is the best.
What's the point of Fargo? I never tried it.
It's basically each season takes place in a different decade and has
Maybe I think
ties
I'm
in some
wrong.
ways to the movie, and it manages
There's
to
a Fargo movie?
Oh yeah,
Are
the
you
Coen Brothers
fucking
movie.
kidding me, Phil?
I never
What
seen
is
The
it.
the
movie
second-
won
what's that?
fucking Best Picture.
Who stars in the second season? Maybe I'm getting
Jesse
it wrong.
Is Kristen Dunst, Patrick Wilson.
Oh,
Chad
yep. That's the
Danson.
scene where Jesse Plemons is a meat, cuts the meat. I'm
That's a
sorry.
lot of
Oh, and
stars.
there's that Indian guy is in it, and I believe he also plays an Indian on Westworld. as well.
Is it like it's not
It's-
fantasy?
No,
No,
it's,
no.
it's a hard show
It's
to try to describe.
surrealist where
Yeah.
it's like, because there's one thing that happens. I'm gonna give it away because you're gonna forget by the time you get to it. In the
I have
second
to.
season, a UFO appears out of nowhere.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, but it's good. Like
It's good. It makes sense in everything that they're setting up. Did you ever watch the TV show Legion?
Yeah.
the third season is Ewan
It's same
McGregor.
creator. Yeah.
Fourth season is Chris
Rock. Third season is Ewan McGregor. Second season is kind of everybody. First season is
I should give it a try.
Colin Hanks.
yeah, and that's kind of like the most.
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
probably
second
Billy
season
Bob
I dislike.
Thornton's best performance. I actually think.
I think it is the second season I like the least. The fourth season.
I
one
can
like
never
the least.
remember. I remember liking it the most, but I remember the second. I can never remember the plot of the second season.
Yeah, that's
Did
what
you
I'm trying
watch
to have
the
trouble
fourth
with it.
season?
Yeah, I didn't.
I heard it was so bad, and it was.
It's not that it's bad, but it's not the other shows.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel. It feels like a little crime drama, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't belong with the other
The
stuff.
third season to me runs out of steam. Of like, I like Ewan McGregor, but my mom said to me, I don't like Ewan McGregor. I'm like, why not? And he's like, oh, he's not good in any of his movies. I'm like, but he's. And I sort of thought, okay, episode 3 of Star Wars. And then I thought,
Yeah.
when as Ewan McGregor do I just like him and he hasn't given a great performance? Because
See,
I
I
can't.
know, like
I
Trainspotting,
can't-
Shallow Grave, and stuff like that. That's where I'm like, dude.
I
this
never
is
saw
good.
it. I never saw Trainspotting as my thing. I don't think I'd like it at all.
I think you'd be surprised by how good Ewan McGregor is in it.
I don't think I
we-
would.
We missed Phil.
No, I did have 2 now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
There
okay.
is
I didn't
something in my fantasy wheelhouse that I haven't. That I'm surprised
The
that I don't like.
Expanse?
The Expanse.
I have not. I still. Everybody keeps telling me to watch it. I still haven't.
yeah.
It's because it's told me by people who don't know what good TV is are the people who are telling me that
I've-
it's good, and I don't believe.
I've
them.
tried it for like episodes, and it's just like it. To me, it's
You know
a grind,
why?
and I'm just like.
Yeah, you know why, Phil? Because it comes from the busted in the head idea of fanship, where it's like with the Wheel of Time of like, oh, it's not a good show, but if you devote 4 seasons of your life to it, then it gets good in the 5th season. And it's like, fuck that. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be good off the top.
But everyone
See,
says
that-
it's
or it's
good
not a
from the
good show.
top.
That
and it's just
ties
like,
into
it's
my
not.
next example. That again, everybody who knew me thought this is going to be awesome. All over social media, this is the raddest, fucking radicalist, greatest show you ever watched. It's all so tough. Was Sons of Fucking Anarchy.
I
That
haven't
show
bothered.
stinks.
Yeah.
Leslie started watching it upstairs. I'm like, prepare to be disappointed. Said you might dig it. I watched the first season, and they tried to sell Charlie Hunnam as a rough and tough bad guy.
Jax.
Jesus Christ. You look at this fucking guy, dude, you couldn't scare a toddler. He's got fucking beautiful blonde, like, no, you're not fucking
He
scary.
can't
Sorry.
act, but he can't.
Barely. And in
I'm
this.
saying he cannot act.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said he can act. I'm like, no.
But
and
he-
then in the second, so I suffered through the first season because a buddy of mine was like, oh, it gets better, it gets better.
Sure,
and then-
it does.
And then I really like Henry Rollins. He's like an evil Nazi guy in the second season. I'm like, that'll be fun to watch Henry Rollins as an evil Nazi guy. I can't act with the shit.
You love
but
evil
I like,
Nazis.
But and
he was one.
and he does great. And then
Hitler.
as soon
Wait,
as
what?
they kill off a character
You can say.
in the show, Hubert or Hubie.
Who's the actor? Is it Ron Perlman?
This whole
No.
thing is a
Ron
spoiler,
Perlman.
so who
Ron
cares?
Perlman's angle is something happens to him, and then he becomes a sad sack for the rest of the show. And I gave up in the third season. I'm like, I hate the main actor, the principal actor. I hate the fact that he gets whatever he wants. Everyone's terrified of him. He's the scariest guy there is. Ron Perlman's turned into a cuck for other people to be mean to him. This guy, Hubie or Hubert, was the redheaded guy with the big beard. He's dead. All right. He was the only guy I cared about. And it was just this constant, where is the interesting part of this show that everyone's fucking talking about? I don't see it.
What do you think it is about these hit shows where it's like they don't have to be very good in order to be successful? Manifest
I think
is
it's
a good
that
example.
they're simple. The
Yeah.
people that are in them are, Jax is a
A lot
hardcore
of
tough guy.
personalities and relationships to follow.
And you know what? I want to be Jax. I want to be a hardcore tough guy. Jax is a hardcore tough guy. I love Sons of Anarchy.
I'll say this about
know?
Charlie Hunnam only in the last 3 or so years, is that it's like I don't know if it's post exactly King Arthur, which I never watched, but it's like it's like he realizes he can't act, so he does it for show. He does a lot of like stylistic turns. Like I saw Papillon in theaters because my dad was such a big fan of the original. So me and him went and saw it. That's with him and Rami Malek.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, he can't act, but it's not necessary because it's a plot-heavy movie. But darn, does he evoke Steve McQueen so much without even saying anything?
He's a good-looking guy,
and that's
and
that's
he's
all that's
got that
needed,
look.
But
But in Sons of Anarchy, they were like, "Hey, he's the toughest guy there is." I'm like, you fucking Charlie Hunnam beside Ron Perlman, and he's the tough one to be afraid of. Have you seen the size of Ron Perlman?
So do you think in the movie, you saw the movie The Gentleman, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a
I
good
thought he
role.
was, he was great for that.
Because he can't act, but that's a well-written role
And
for him.
he's basically Mr. Exposition in that movie.
Yeah,
He's just like, please tell me more about the plot. But then what happened in the plot? That's all he does. And he's perfect for that.
The Gentleman comes dangerously close to being a good Guy Ritchie movie.
Which is
except
something
at
we
the
haven't
end,
seen a lot.
when they make Henry Golding, whose character does not work, they make him into a rapist. And I remember thinking okay, that's too much. Like, I get it that he's a bad guy.
I like rapists.
Yeah, that's
all right.
what I've heard.
So the next one, my last example is Rick and Morty. Everyone was like,
I've seen a few episodes.
dude, Rick and Morty's super funny.
love
And
it.
Dan Harmon made Community. Dan Harmon's a really funny guy. And I tried Rick and Morty, and I was just like, I don't get this
I've
comedy.
seen 4 or 5 episodes,
And maybe it's because
I like
I'm,
them.
I'm a fucking super old guy. But I'm
probably
like,
it.
this just, I don't get what's funny. The joke never comes through for me. And maybe it's because I like my comedy be more acerbic and meaner. I really like mean comedy, you know?
It's okay for people to like different
And
things.
well, it absolutely is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why with anything that I brought up, if you love Sons of Anarchy, if you fucking love Rick and Morty, that doesn't by any means or Big Bang Theory doesn't mean I think you're an idiot. It just means this is not for me.
Rick and Morty to me is Futurama by way of Back to the Future.
The difference is Futurama was actually funny for me.
There are some funny moments.
Futurama was touching.
There are
and
some funny
and
moments in
great.
Rick and Morty. Like, there are clever things, but it's like, it's kind of like somebody described to me, and I like it, but Community Season 3, where it's like that we're doing this because we can, not because we should. And it feels like a lot of it feels like stunt work.
Rick and Morty's a lot of satire.
I stopped watching Community after Season 4, by the way. I've tried
love
watching
Community.
Season
I
5
love
and 6.
Community.
I didn't finish.
I
it.
did.
That's what I
stop off
thought.
at
That's
some
why I
point.
thought I'd
don't
like Rick and
remember.
Morty because I thought Dan Harmon was a funny guy. Then I watched that terrible Quibi show about where he's fucking a doll.
I don't.
What's
didn't
it
watch
called?
Any Quibi.
Oh shit!
I watched 2 Quibi shows.
Oh fuck!
were they?
It was
The Stranger with Dane DeHaan, who plays the Green Goblin, where he's
and,
terrorizing that one. That almost came close to, like, it hints at being a
Dummy?
good show, but like
Doll?
all Quibi, it's doomed. And then, of course, I watched The Most Dangerous Game, which unfortunately wastes a good Christoph Waltz performance on a show that hangs itself on the performance of Liam Hemsworth, who cannot act.
Didn't Anna Kendrick have one?
doll. Yeah,
She
that's
had
the
it.
one. The
She
one I
had
watched.
it.
Anna
That's
Kendrick.
the doll.
It's based on the girl that wrote it. Her relationship with Dan Harmon, and he has a fuck doll, and the fuck doll starts talking to Anna Kendrick. It's terrible.
I would like an Anna Kendrick fuck doll.
Fuck. I would like. I need bigger
Or root beer
tits.
jugs.
Yeah, root beer jugs.
Yeah.
I go with.
Yeah.
Who's Root Beer?
Oh, it's a running
It's a
joke.
whole thing, but it's Kat Dennings.
Oh, yeah, because she played Max, and that was the joke on, Michael Patrick King's show.
Man, I would watch
Broke
Two
Girls.
Broke Girls on mute. That's what I'd watch.
But it's not a good show.
No, that's why it's on mute.
Yeah.
It started off okay, but it's when you ever have those shows where
Mute.
it starts off, there's something there, and the pilot is good.
It's lazy.
And it,
Oh,
and
there
it
was
runs
there
into-
was something in Kat Dennings in that first episode. I was like, wish I was in there.
But I like Beth Bears too, and then like
Go to that
my
diner
mom who
every
watched
day.
the show found it like just so irritating after a while. She had to stop watching it.
Please take my order.
In your tits.
Yeah, you know.
But no, so yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
want-
so what's another one for you? My last one was Rick and
I
Morty.
want to go raise it up a bit to a show where you followed and then you stopped. And for me, that's I never quite got all the way there. Was Fringe, where
I
Good
watched
example.
the whole thing. I loved it.
Fringe has one of my favorite pilots that I've seen. It so perfectly encapsulates what the show is supposed to be about.
So good.
It has an entire arc for Olivia Dunham, and I even remember their names, and Peter Bishop from like the beginning, and even Alistair and stuff. Like it has a really good foundation. It's
Yeah.
probably, in my opinion,
Totally true.
that I've seen
So
J.J.
good.
Abrams' best TV work. And I know it goes on to a plot and it like resolves in a kind way, but I just kind of lost interest if they do one too many Monster of the Week episodes off the bat, building out
it
the
needs
universe.
it needs that because
Yeah, I know, because they go
yeah.
to some crazy places.
You
I
can't
wish
have a mythology every fucking episode.
It's a
X-Files
show
taught us
where if
that.
it was on streaming, I wouldn't have lost track of it and lost it.
if
'Cause
that
that's what
show
happened.
was consistently arc, it would not be great.
Are you guys watching any cable TV shows at all now? Because I'm watching one, and it happens to be the most popular cable TV show.
Nope.
Yeah.
no
Even though I
cable.
missed episodes.
Currently airing, not old school. Right?
And it's from a writer on Sons of Anarchy. No, he was an actor
Kurt.
on Sons of Anarchy, Taylor Sheridan.
Yep.
And it's annoying because like the show is far right Republican, and starting off it wouldn't draw attention to it. Like it's just a casual conservative show.
Is it the Tim Allen comedy?
Yeah, Tim Allen is actually funny.
What's
I
it
don't
called?
give a
That's
fuck.
the
Last Man Standing?
Can I just say, just quickly, you can go back to your topic in just a second, but that show is so fucking messed up because
It is. It's done a lot of messed up plot lines where
exactly it's like a person changes or
Oh, yeah, did
the
you
family
see-
changes, and I'm just like they don't even bring that
Did
up.
you
It's
see-
just pretend it's all same.
Did you see the episode? Yeah, they
This
recast
sounds like
the
something I've got
They
to
lost
watch.
me
then.
at
They
that point.
recast the
Oh.
daughter who, as what was at one point Caitlin Deaver. She's in Booksmart and she was in the show
They
Unbelievable on
Rosander.
Netflix.
Or
yeah,
what's the other one? Oh, that 70s show. They did that with the daughter. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yes,
does she die or what happens to her character?
she had a drug problem.
Yeah, she had, the actress had a drug problem, but I don't remember what happened to her in the show.
Yeah, because I remember.
Speaking of
seeing-
shows that I lost
seeing
interest
one,
in.
What do you think of that '90s show that they're going
Oh,
to do?
man.
They're going to
I'm
bring it back.
curious.
You know
gonna
what?
give it
If
a
they bring it
try.
back on Netflix and Kurtwood Smith is allowed to swear as much as he does in fucking RoboCop, I'll be all
I
about
don't
that
want
shit.
Fuller House.
No,
That's
I
what it
want
will
him
be.
to be really angry.
Do you?
and
I'm
mean.
amazed that you still have faith in Netflix as a TV
That
enterprise because
ranch
there aren't.
show was awful.
Oh, the
Which one?
ranch
The ranch. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck no!
with
was
Danny
bad.
Masterson.
Ashton
and
Kutcher is another one that's just like Adam Sandler. I don't get why he's funny, so no. But I don't
by the
hate
way,
him as much as I
Yellowstone was
hate
the
him.
show, by the way, with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so the show does like so I watched it last night and it's a watchable show because Taylor Sheridan is good at just
Remind us
dialogue.
what the show was because I forgot.
Yellowstone.
Oh, okay.
And it's not a bigger hit because Paramount is stupid and deserves to crumble as a company. I wanted to watch this show when it first premiered because I knew, Kevin Costner is going to be on this prestige television show. I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan. My parents are, but I'm like, okay, this is going to be quality.
I love Kevin
So,
Costner.
Did you ever watch Mr. Brooks?
No.
oh
but
man,
you're a huge Kevin Costner
I didn't
fan.
Yeah,
say I was a
exactly.
huge. I just
You
like
just
him.
said you were a big
I'm
Kevin
a
Costner
huge
fan.
Kevin Costner
is
fan.
like such a hilarious punchline for me. By the way, the
I
person
like
who
certain
plays
movies.
Mr. Brooks's daughter is the daughter on Last Man Standing that I just referred to 5 seconds ago. That she's in Booksmart but no, it's like and it could be confusing her with somebody else. But
What's-
my point is this: is that
He'll get to the end, Phil. Just shut up.
the
It wasn't
show
ending
calls too much attention to its
Should.
politics unnecessarily at
Yellowstone
times
does.
where it's cringeworthy. And I realize
You're talking
though,
about Yellowstone still?
yeah.
Yeah.
But both the left and right do it, we realize now. Because Hawkeye and the Marvel Studios do it.
Yeah.
And then this show does it. And it's like, to me, it's kind of like an old person thing where you really
Yeah,
call
yeah.
attention. Because it's like, I kind of, I get it, but I don't care. Unless it's a significant plot point, I don't care.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody is like the same way. Like, you can have like something that's like super progressive, but you have to take it seriously as a plot point and like put something into it. Otherwise, you're wasting the audience's time. The show on Yellowstone, one of the plot points is there's this protester who thinks that because he's a billionaire farmer and stuff, that Kevin Costner is evil. and she protests against him. And what happens is all the protesters get arrested, I guess, for some reason. I'm not really clear. The show's not super specific. But then, guess who bails the protester out of jail? Kevin Costner, because he's a good guy.
Aw.
And he's like, hey, and he's like, come, I want to show you the farm and stuff like that. And she's like, you think? And any real protester would be like, fuck you, I'm not talking to you. And that's how the show should
I
handle
bet
it.
he rapes her.
It doesn't do that. That's what they bring up.
Good.
Is that she is like, oh, well.
Rape that bitch, Phil.
Jesus.
Jeez, can you not? The show, when she gets... She makes reference to...
Pro-rape
Censored.
podcast.
This is going to get us canceled before any of us...
If something else didn't get us canceled,
I'm
this
under-
won't.
Saying fucking
Rob,
lesbianized.
Rob,
whatever you
I'm-
said before.
Rob,
Lesbianized.
I'm underemployed. I need work. She makes reference, the character, to like, oh, last time I got in a truck with a white man and stuff, I should be... Like, she makes reference to him being like an upper crust white guy in a way that's kind of like completely passé. And it's just kind of like, we don't need that. I guess, yeah, my point is pointless.
All right, Phil, what's your show that you...
No, we're done that.
the show that you were into that
You
fizzled
have
out for you.
8-Bit Christmas on there.
Listen,
I'm not watching that
You
shit.
don't know
I'm
what
not
you're
wa-
reading. You're
I'm not
reading over
watching
my
8-Bit
shit. Stop
Christmas.
it.
Can we... Okay, you
Okay,
pick the wheel
hold
of
on,
time.
we
You're
gotta
gone.
wait for him.
Next week, I just want to go over this on the show.
Okay.
But we got
Next-
10 minutes.
Next week, exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to take 10 minutes to talk about fucking what you're eating after this podcast.
Maybe I'll watch a second episode of Arcane by then.
Hawkeye 3. We're going to watch.
Yeah, we're going to watch Hawkeye to the end.
The Last Duel. I already had it
100%
on
I'm
there.
watch
in.
that shit. Yeah.
I'm so interested in
And
that.
8-Bit Christmas, which
Uh.
which will tie well into our top 10 Christmas stuff that we're doing next week.
Oh no, you refused to record it.
And listen to it. He was fucking babbling to
I'm
himself
out on
over
that.
there.
I'm out on that.
Of
Like,
course
I don't
you
wanna
are,
do
'cause
that.
you're
Do you
impatient.
want to do top 10 Christmas? Like, I feel we already
Impatient.
did it.
I'll do top 10 Christmas.
Yeah,
Look,
fine.
But I feel like I can have 5. I'm not going to have 10 Christmas movies.
What can we say that hasn't already been said?
Other things, Hot Zone at Anthrax.
I
Anyone
have-
interested?
Christmas movies that
I
aren't
thought you
Christmas
said-
movies.
So you watched the
hold
first
on.
Hot Zone.
I haven't watched it. Oh, yes,
Are there
yes.
any movies that you watch at Christmas? They might not necessarily be Christmas movies, but for you, they are. And we're not going to talk
Yeah.
about it now. We'll talk about it next time. But they're movies that you watch at Christmas or your family
Yeah,
watches.
well, this is the whole point to the top
Not
10
good
list.
movies.
It's like it's,
I have- but
it's
I only
your
have
favorite.
4.
It doesn't matter if it's someone else's favorite. The 100 people voted on it on fucking Family Feud.
I've
I don't
got
care.
I don't unless you count the Wicker
something
Man.
called Cover Me in Candy Cane Cum Stains,
Okay,
starring Jenna Jameson.
That's on our other
I watch
site.
it every Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
gets double teamed with
Well, she-
fucking
You watch
candy
it with the
canes.
Favorite.
kids now?
With the family?
No.
Yes.
surround sound in the home theater.
We just blur out the parts, and I'm like, boys, someone's just showing her how to use a piston engine.
So we also have the Lost in Space season 3's coming.
Oh yeah, I'll
Yeah,
watch that. Can
I'll
we
watch
put
that.
that on there instead of fucking 8-Bit Christmas?
I will.
I did
will
not
agree to
watch
that. That's fine
Lost
with
in
me.
Space, but I'll
it
watch
was good.
this
It was
season.
okay. Not great,
I
but
watch
it's
it
okay.
here and there. It's like one of those shows. Isn't that underrated, Phil? Those shows where you don't watch every
guess
single
I'm not
episode
here.
to follow. You know, Ozark. Sorry,
Ozarks was good.
Ozark.
I liked it.
Season 4 coming out in January.
I
That'll be
thought
on
they
this
said
show.
it was canceled.
I
It wasn't
want-
gonna get
Wait,
done.
one more. You
I
said.
want more.
Is that it?
I want more random episode shows like you were talking about with the
Where you watch only every now and then.
Fringe.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it used to be a cable thing because you'd tune in whenever you could, and then you'd get the Monster of the Week type thing. That is gone. Like you don't
Yeah.
see it that much, and
Yeah.
that's what I wanted from the new CSI. Come back to that.
Oh yeah, I got tired of CSI.
I hate the arcs.
Yeah, I don't like the characters. One of the things they say at the beginning of CSI Vegas is
Wait,
like
you're the CSI guy. I'm
they have
surprised.
this.
All I know is it's got a girl named Seaman Swallows in it.
There is a character on it who's like, oh, I didn't. She's like in
We
the
got 8
most
minutes.
British accent possible.
6 minutes.
Oh, I must have. She's like,
I am from New York.
She's like, I must have learned this back in India, and it's like she looks Indian, but she's very clearly like British.
Yeah,
like,
but
never.
there's
like,
a lot of British people in it. Or
Yeah,
Indian
yeah,
people in
because they
Britain.
used to be a British colony until like the 40s or something. But it's
sheriff.
like, but it's annoying.
The sheriff in Mass.
He wasn't British.
He's British.
Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
Oh, in real life, he's
In real life,
British.
he's
Oh,
British,
really? I
yeah.
didn't know that.
He was also in iZombie. Yes.
I tried watching
I love
iZombie a few
iZombie.
months ago. I couldn't get into it. I'm like, this is shit. this is what got such good reviews. I was
I
dead
enjoyed
tired
it.
watching it.
You
But-
would.
It's a comic book.
But like, you
show.
know what my problem is, guys? I'm too progressive. That's my problem. Because
That's your problem.
I look at I'm too progressive for my own
And you're
good.
just progressive enough,
Look.
and I'm not progressive.
That's my mother.
No, I was talking about you're immunized. Good job.
Well, yeah. I did,
Don't touch him.
We talked about that.
No, you're not.
Everybody should get vaccinated. Why? So
Not
you can move
progressive.
on with your life.
Progressive.
That's the
Too
most important.
progressive.
When are
Just
your kids
progressive
getting
enough.
vaccinated?
December 4th, the first. Dexter's already double
I think
vaccinated.
mine's 5th or 6th. The Saturday.
Can we
Sunday?
talk-
My kid goes first.
Can we spend
As
the
always.
last 5 minutes talking about vaccinations?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so
Or blood?
the only thing I feel we can do as a society to like actually beat this vaccine is to get the remaining
Well, to
people
beat
who are
COVID.
not vaccinated on board. And
I was
like,
gonna say you mean beat COVID, not beat the vaccine.
yeah.
You mean kill them?
I
Can we kill
have
them?
a couple people that I know who I'm not gonna say are not vaccinated.
Is your neighbor vaccinated?
Oh yeah.
That one?
That one.
No, I'm talking
love how
about
there's only
anti.
one.
Trump one? Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Trump lover.
Yeah. You know who's
I mean,
Wow.
my uncle is a Trump lover and he got vaccinated.
Oh, he must have listened to Trump that one time he said.
No, because Trump got it. Trump got
Yes.
the vaccination.
Oh,
I feel that shouldn't we
We
move
need
on
more
as
than
a
5
society
minutes.
to treat those people who are not getting vaccinated in a different camp as maybe a Trump supporter? Because it's kind of, they're different.
Yes.
I feel the people who willingly will not get vaccinated, they should not have access to a lot of the same things that
Healthcare.
vaccinated
That's
people
all
will.
that's left.
Yeah.
Except for the
But
kids.
I mean, that they should not have access to things that vaccinated people do. Going to the movies to show any
I
sort of
agree.
anywhere that you
Totally
no
agree.
but I mean like they should be like it's a mean way to say it because it's going back to the days of
Yonder.
getting people to put fucking tattoos
Put
on
them
them, which is what they're
outside in a
attributing it to.
box.
Yeah, they should not be allowed to take part in any of the things that vaccinated people can.
Yeah.
What's something that they're not covering now that should be?
I don't know. That's why I don't have a good example, but I mean they should be ostracized. I guess is what I'm
Grocery
looking for.
stores.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect
They
example.
can get delivery easily. They can get
Yeah, great
pickup
example.
Well, not
easily.
very easily. It depends on where you live. Most of these people, the problem is like these people are the people who get their news from Facebook,
Yep.
um,
Absolutely.
which drives me.
Or the
does it
mentally
drive
challenged.
you guys nuts that our
Literally.
parents would say to us, "Don't believe everything you read on TV,"
Yeah.
and yet, like for me, the TV, the CBS, the NBC, even Fox to a certain degree,
Fox is awful.
Fox is
ABC
terrible.
News. I don't like any of the news shows. I don't like CNN. But like, there's a degree of truth that like when I'm reading a website, and there are many more reputable websites other than those. But like, if it's not from a major media site, then it's not a reliable source. So I don't get when like my dad or somebody would say, "Oh, I read and heard about this. This is happening,"
these are
and it's like, "Where'd you read that?" And it's like, "Oh, .com.biz whatever .us."
These are
is not a
people
reliable
that are
source.
getting one source and not looking into multiple sources and getting their information properly. They're just going one source and going, "Oh, I heard it from my friend Brenda."
These are also people that will not challenge what they hear. So when someone says to you, the
Closed thinkers.
the vaccine causes cancer, really, what evidence is there of that? I'm not being facetious or rude. Show me the fucking evidence. This is what
How about when the
science
people-
is. Science is the action of constantly trying to prove the otherwise.
Yeah.
I am convinced of this. This is my hypothesis. I will prove it wrong or I will prove it right.
You know what they say to me? They say they speak as if the vaccine has killed as many people as the virus has. This is something that has killed as many people as cancer kills in a year, and the regular flu and pneumonia combined. And the thing that bothers me is that, like, I'll admit that the media in general, in a lot of ways that they've covered this, has been terrible. For instance, like, you wouldn't know the name of the people who actually invented the vaccines. They haven't, like, got into any of the things that would connect it to, like, our world of, like, what we believe or what we would do something to trust. And it's sort of like, I don't know what, like, the agenda is a lot of times of the media. Like,
To me,
They just get out the information.
I think now we live in an age where media is directly tied to money. So
Yes.
my entire
More
purpose,
so than ever
CNN, Fox
before.
News, is sell. And what sells is fear. And Facebook
Like all
knows
this-
goddamn well what sells is fear. So that's what they
Like
that's what
all
they
that,
sell.
like for me, it goes to running stories about people believing stuff which is false as stories, and it's like if it's not true,
completely Fox
then it's
News.
then if it's
That's
not true,
absolutely Fox
like the
fucking
the thing
news.
started with me was the maybe it was the Sandy Hook or Stoneman Douglas conspiracy theories of like crisis actors and
Yeah, it was
CBS.
Alex Jones is bullshit.
Yeah,
about
and
that.
CBS ran with it stories of like they believe this and they outlined every single part of their idea. It's like you're doing their job for them.
It's the same as a reputable newspaper like Wall Street Journal running Trump's piece.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you call yourself a reputable establishment, a reputable paper, and you're going to run someone who is a proven liar?
But
Is it
but
because
gets
they're
attention.
too big?
And that's
Is it
what-
because all these?
I
they're
think
about
it's
to be-
because Wall Street Journal was seeing, you know what, we're not selling as good as we usually are.
Republicans.
What do we got to do to sell?
It's a demographic.
Yep.
And that's the show. Hour of Sour, episode
14.
2. Thank you. And,
Episode 2.
Go to,
filmgamer.com, filmgamer.ca,
what's your podcast?
filmgamer.net.
Rapeforbeginners.com.
Is
It actually
rape
is.
spelled with a 4?
I just keep on saying,
man, we're
wanting
going
to
to
say
hell.
because movies.
We're all feminists.
Watchingcomplain.com. Thank you for watching Hour of Sour.
God bless. Godspeed and God help you all.